Hello everybody, this is Zerta with Zerta MTG, and I'm back again today for more historic gameplay. So today we're keeping things simple, and we're playing just for fun deck. Honestly, I don't think this is really good enough for ranked right now, but I do think it is vastly enjoyable. So if you're just looking to have some fun and play a nice control deck in the grixis colors because you are a sadist like me, I think this is a pretty decent place to start. So running through the deck one more time, although I've been doing this quite frequently. We have Disfigure for 1 mana removal, as it is capable of killing things like Adonto Vanguard and the like that might otherwise be problematic. Recently I've been considering upping this count by 1 and dropping an Angrath's Rampage. Rampage is really just here because of its versatility and what it can kill. Mainly, it's not really dead in any matchup. If you need to kill artifacts like Embercleave, it's also very nice, although that hardly ever comes up if I'm going to be completely honest. Mostly, if you're playing against a control deck, you can kill the Teferi. If you're playing against a creature deck, at least some creature is now off the field. And for 2 mana, you can't ask for too much more than that. Agonizing Remorse, because we need Exile. Exile is just very important in this format. Thassa's Intervention, because it's a hybrid between card draw and counterspell. We needed both. So we only really have one option. Mystical Dispute, because, well, if you don't know why Mystical Dispute is great at this point, I'm sure there are a million other videos on YouTube that explain it much, much better than I could. Basically, just take it as it protects our spells very efficiently, and it's not really dead in any matchup, so it's just kind of the best 3 mana counter, because sometimes it's a 1 mana counter, and that's way better value than you could get from cycling. Also, it's not very blue intensive. Which, if you look at the deck, we don't really have too much blue. It's just kind of here for the Bolasses and the Thassas. 2 Bone Crusher Giant, just kind of as a hybrid removal spell on 2 and a blocker on 3, but also because it can, it can come down and kill a Teferi, by which I mean stomp a Teferi that's used its minus, and then also present a threat, but mainly in aggressive matchups, it is both removal and blocker, and against controlling matchups, it is just a clock, which is more than you can say about most removal spells. Same thing goes for Murderous Rider, especially in creature matchups, where you're probably, I think, realizing it's just supposed to drop this as a 2-3 lifelink and not worry about using it as a removal spell unless your opponent only has 1 creature. Just kind of use it as a 2-3 lifelink that holds their team at bay. 2 Ravenous Chupacabra. There is some debate I'm having about whether or not this should be a Vraska's Contempt. Vraska's Contempt also live in every matchup. Also hits Planeswalkers, is also targeted removal, costs the same amount of mana, except it has lifelink instead of, or life gain instead of being a 2-2 that cannot hit walkers. My reasoning for this being Chupacabra is, I think, against Gruul specifically, which is one of our worst matchups, which should go without saying, given that Gruul's just one of the best decks. This is much, much better than Vraska's Contempt. It can come down, kill their big thing like, say, Crusting Beast, and then trade off with another creature. So it's a 2-for-1 instead of just a 1-for-1. And against the best deck in the format, you know, this card's better, so we give Ravenous Chupacabra the slot. It also helps that in control matchups, this is still just another threat you can just put out there to start applying pressure to your opponent, which is kind of a theme of this deck. 4 Nico Bolas the Ravager, because if you ever flip it, it's absurd, and on its face value, 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer that ETB discards a card from your opponent's hand is plenty fine. That's just a very good value play. You drop it, and it'll trade for something like a Questing Beast, or you'll drop it, and it will go ahead and provide card advantage and hold your opponent back from continuing to swing. And if it ever flips, you're just so far ahead that it's very unlikely that you lose. You'll notice I dropped the Crab the Carnarium for the 3rd Extinction Event. I think Extinction Event is the best sweeper for this deck. Sure, it'll exile quite a few of our creatures sometimes, but against things like Gruul, the cards you really care about tend to be even anyway. And in other matchups, being able to exile cards like Uro or Kroxa is incredibly relevant. Therefore, Extinction Event. I'm also playing it instead of the 3rd one over the first Cry of the Carnarium, because honestly, I don't think Cry of the Carnarium is good enough right now. I think there are just too many things it misses, and even being on 3, which on the play against Gruul can be the difference between, living to get to turn 4 and just dying right then and there, it still misses too many threats, even though Extinction Event does miss quite a few as well. Eldest Reborn, I really want the 4th Bolas. I think I would play 4 Bolas over one of those. Maybe I cut something else. I think I end up going down to 1 Eldest Reborn. The big thing about it is it's a big top-end spell, which, if you get all the way to reanimating something, it's basically like having a Bolas in play for 2 turns. And it could even bring back a Bolas, just in the value you get. Just, it's already killed a creature, it's discarded a card, and what you're putting in is likely going to be a value creature, so if it's a Bolas or one of theirs, that's basically 4 cards of advantage, same as a Bolas. It's kind of a bad comparison thinking about it, but the point I'm trying to get across is the impact level is the same. It just takes longer to get there. Being able to kill things and present a threat, as you can tell, is a theme of this deck, and Aldous Reborn does that quite well. Same thing goes for Nico Bolas. Dragon God, if it's stabilized and you drop this, then you're just incredibly likely to win. Give me a second, my dog is going crazy. Fudge! No. Sorry, give me a sec. I'm going to try and see if I can figure out how to pause this.